right, and of course we need to switch over the overlay. Looks like we have your other show on, but I guess
I didn't actually. Well, we can just leave it for now.
That's okay.
We'll change it during.
I am all right with that. What I will do is show you guys this beautiful, amazing, wonderful, and I'm delaying because my words are failing me. Boom! Scoreboard.
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so here we are, guys. The map is ESV Ohana, and in the upper left part of it, in the blue from the team alternate attack part of the conglomerate, I guess you could say, aTn type, it is Cloud. And in the lower right, playing Zerg in the red from the team Infinity 7, it is jEcho. Did pretty well. He beat Idra last week after Idra had taken 3 games off of Infinity 7.
That's right. Idra actually playing really, really well in the first set of matches, which was impressive to see. Then his teammates came along, cleaned things right up. JYP, of course, closing things out. EG actually matching up against MVP in the next round, which I think is going to make for a pretty intriguing matchup.
Yeah, should be cool. I mean, EG, you know, they're a team that people kind of always expect to do okay because they have a lot of star power, but they just have not really had the results yet in team matches. So it's kind of surprising. You know, I think a lot of people are expecting more out of EG than what we've seen from them in team matches. So to go up against like one of the best team league teams ever in StarCraft 2, MVP, that's a tall order for them to stay in the upper bracket. So we'll have to see what happens. I mean, it's going to be, I think, closer than people realize, but it's going to be tough for EG, no doubt.
And it looks like Cloud going to go after that 15 gas that we've seen a few European Terran players do recently. Started with Braddock. We saw a couple other players from FXOCIS, notably Straylock, adopted at times as well. And then, you know, from there, it's good to see that it's being picked up by others. Certainly gives a different look. If he ends up going Reactor at Hellions, it's going to be way different timing, but it could be an indication of something else altogether.
Well, you never really know from Cloud. I mean, he tends to always transition into a more aggressive style of drop play or pushing later in the game, but his openings can be very varied. So, you know, we'll have to kind of wait and see what he does. He is putting down the second command center, but he will still be able to get that factory up fairly soon as well, like you mentioned. Could go for the tech lab with the Reaper, of course, as well, but I think we are going to see the factory. Yeah, the supply depot there should mean that there will be a factory quite soon. And in the meantime, I think jEcho, I'm curious to see if we're going to see that 4-Queen build from him, or if he's going to get gas quite soon as well. I think it's going to be 4-Queen, because by now, if you were going to go for speed, you would have already generally wanted to take your first gas.
And this Marine has just wandered all the way across the map. Takes a pretty good look at his opponent's base. The Overlord says, nope, I'm out of there.
So does the Marine, though.
I won't have any part of that. Yeah, the Marine does at least verify the location of a second base, and then pretty much everything is status quo from there on out.
It'd be a terrifying job to have that Marine's job, to just run all the way across the map and be like, yep, Zerg's over there. Yeah, he's making scary looking things. Yep, Can I come home now?
Yep, a bunch of goop on the ground, and don't really want to step in it anymore.
A lot of spikes and teeth. Yep. Yeah. Porting in. Time to go home.
That is Zerg, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh, and that is a third command center from Cloud.
Yeah, it is.
Very quick third command center going down for him. And this has been a really popular thing lately in TVZ, and it's a popular thing in varied ways as well. You see some openings that are very barracks heavy, that are 3 command center oriented, and you also see ones that are a little bit more tech heavy. So I'm going to actually be like totally blown away if Cloud goes for something like Banshees out of that. That's just going to be insane. But I think it's going to be much more likely we're going to see Hellions and then into some Marine and then medevac aggression. We do have the tech lab on that barracks going down at a very normal timing. And a lot of, or 2 gas so far from jEcho. I thought I saw 3, but I guess it was just 2.
But he did end up going down that 4-Queen build that you were alluding to before. It started with a couple of early Queens, immediately starting a couple more after that before the gas go down, so we can get some nice early creep spread. Ohana, one of those maps where it's not just important for you to have creep spread, it's almost vital in a lot of circumstances.
It's vital in nearly every circumstance. But you're right, on Ohana, it is very important to get that creep spread going early on, especially to connect your bases in the case of Banshees. If you get a sense that you might see something like that, you want to put a creep domer down right away. And then also just to get creep to your third base is really the primary thing with creep on this map. But a lot of reasons, to get the creep flowing pretty much every situation.
the advantage of that 4 queens, though. Already able to deflect those Hellions very, very early on. Cloud just continuing to power ahead with those for the time being. 2 more coming up now as he is flipping over to double engineering base. So an incredibly upgrade and economically aggressive opening now.
Yeah.
We'll see if jEcho wants to take advantage of that. He does have a Roach Warren on the way. We'll see if he intends to move through and just go for an outright all-in, if there's going to be a Baneling Nest that follows this up, or of course if it's just going to be for a few defensive roaches for the time being.
Ooh, I really, really like what Cloud is doing, actually. He's spending resources on a tank and siege mode early on, much earlier than you would normally see, especially with 2 engineering base. I think that's a great decision. He knows that the one thing he really needs to worry about is early pressure from Zerg. You know, stuff that his Hellions can't handle. Roach aggression, which is what we might actually see from jEcho. So Cloud going for that really quick siege mode, kind of cutting down on the barracks and the Marine count early on.
Right.
I think that's a great idea, and in this particular case, I think it's going to pay off big time.
Well, Hellions are swinging their way around the left-hand side, trying to stop any sort of active creep tumors, but jEcho's done a pretty good job at putting them out there, but not over-aggressively doing so and letting those active tumors get killed. Allows his queens to start banking up some energy back at home and use defensively. A bunch of Lings are starting to drop in after this, but he is starting a 3rd base, so no Baneling Nest right away. Going up to Lair Tech, not going to go explicitly all in, but will have a very powerful defense in case of a strong attack. But the problem for him is that Cloud, he's just sitting back, macroing away. 3 more barracks being added. He's already up to 47 workers as a Terran off of these 3 command centers. His upgrades are well underway. Cloud is just playing very well.
Yeah, and ooh, that was actually big right there. That siege tank shot really gave jEcho a lot of information, but I don't think that he's expecting siege tanks and double upgrades as well. I think he probably saw that siege tank shot and went, oh, okay, probably going to see a standard Marine timing push here, Marine tank timing push around, 10 minutes or so. It's a bit of a big map for it, but, whatever. He might not be too phased by that, might be kind of thinking the wrong thing here, so we'll see if that kind of affects what he is planning.
Yeah.
All in all, I mean, his build is going to be pretty good against that type of thing to begin with, too, so not really a lot to worry about. Oh, and he might catch these Hellions.
Oh, he's just... Oh, there he goes. Finally does catch a couple of them. 3 going down. The 4th dies as well. Very well done by jEcho. Of course, Dark Force, to see the name there. It is Cloud. My apologies. Does have a couple of siege tanks sitting there. They're all unsieged at the moment. Looks like Cloud going to lose yet another of his Hellions off to the side, but he's starting to work on the destructible rocks.
Yep. Doesn't look like those... Zerglings and Roaches are going to be able to fit through there anytime soon, not without a lot of death as well, which they really would not prefer. So we do have the Infestation Pit going down for jEcho, not devoting himself too much into this attack. He's getting +2/+2 as well, so keeping up on upgrades. And look at that, wow.
I don't know if you just saw it, there were 12 active creep tumors there a second ago.
Really?
12 of them that were being morphed in all at the same time.
That's a lot of creep spread.
That's ridiculous.
There
we go. Here they're going up again. Only 8 for now. 9. Okay. All right. Well, a little less than before, but still suitably insane.
Well, he's doing a good job of making sure that he's using every creep cooldown, too. And, I mean, look at how fast that creep spreads. For those of you who did not know until right now, the more creep tumors you have in an area, the faster the creep spreads.
That's right.
And so, therefore, you can spread your creep extremely quickly. Look at that. Watch this. This is just insane.
Yeah.
He's going to be across the map so fast with this. There's a lot of players that kind of skip this, actually. A lot of pro players that time up their creep spreading with like their queen injects and things like that. And yeah, you don't lose a lot of time with it, but if you've got the ATM and the multitasking to handle on that, it can be quite good. And apparently, jEcho just doesn't like his army.
No, that's what I was thinking as well. He really loves his creep spread, not his army as much.
Well, that was a huge mistake. Whoops. Well, jEcho losing most of his army there, I believe. I don't really see a reason why he would have wanted to do that. I mean, we were obviously entranced by his amazing creep spread.
That's true.
I got to say that probably, I mean, I can't imagine that wasn't a misclick. If that was not a misclick, if that was intentional, that was a very big mistake. That's going to make him a little bit vulnerable for the coming moments here. So hopefully that was just a misclick, but either way, not a great situation for our Zerg player.
We'll just keep watching his creep spread. That'll make us okay.
Watch that all day. I'm not gonna lie. I could watch that all day. He's
well,
also taking a 4th and a 5th base too. So
that's right. But the problem is that he's invested in his infrastructure really well, but he's thrown away a good portion of his army. So despite the fact that he's on 5 bases with 2 macro hatches, he does have 77 workers, but there's not a lot of units that are out there on the field. There's going to come a time pretty soon when Cloud's going to be able to push out and start doing some significant damage, and that is right now.
So we're going to have to just see really how good the Infestor control is for j_ECHO. That's what a lot of it is going to come down to. He is getting Burrow as well. That'll help too.
Yeah.
And the nice thing for Cloud is that, or nice thing for j_ECHO as well, is that it's going to take a lot of scans to break this up. Oh, great Fungals. Awesome Fungus. He's going to be able to kill a lot of Marines with that. That will help slow down that push quite a bit. May even cause Cloud to go home. Oh, I love this too. Ling counterattack at the main. We'll have to see how effective it is.
I don't know. That's quite a few Lings, but Cloud wasn't too far exposed, so he's actually able to run back with a lot of Stim Marines. A few Zerglings are splitting themselves up, some going for the third, some going for the natural as well, and a few even starting to dart into the main. Echo really hasn't done that much damage quite yet, though.
Yeah, he hasn't really done a lot of damage, but he's been able to cause Cloud to go all the way back to his base. That is a huge win right there for him.
That's true, yes.
That gives him the time he needs to get those Lings out, get the Infestors out. His first Spire is almost done. I think he has Hive, so he might be able to start that Greater Spire pretty soon. We'll have to see.
Oh, yeah.
Either way, his upgrades are going to be quite good. So, yeah, that did exactly what it was supposed to do. It bought him the time he needed to stay alive, because I don't know if he would have been able to survive that push as it stood there. Another nice set of fungal growths, just continuing to delay that army. j_ECHO really kind of pushed into a rough spot right now, but he's handling it great so far.
He is, but, you know, the time is really going to come when he's got to make something happen
running out
soon. A Greater Spire is on the way, but still another 90 seconds before that finishes up. So even if he's able to get that Corruptor count up quite a bit, it's going to be very difficult to get the necessary forces out there to stem the tide that's moving out from Cloud now. Looks like he's going to try another Zergling counterattack. Oh, but Cloud is already ready for this one. That's a lot of Zerglings, though, starting to make their way in and do some damage. However, the siege tanks were close enough after the fact that Cloud was able to deflect most of those forces away. More economic damage is going to be done, however. In fact, a total of, wow, I'm actually surprised at that number. There's only been 8 workers killed this entire game, but at the same time, Cloud is dropping 2 bases.
Yep. Now, j_ECHO is doing, again, you know, pretty good job of killing off a lot of Marines, but it's getting to the point where it's just not happening efficiently enough. He's handling this drop, but, you know, he needs to start to kill this army a little bit quicker. You know, he needs to start to kill these units a little bit more efficiently. He can't continue to make Zerglings like that. It's going to use up all his larvae. He's going to need to have as many larvae as he can for the very, very part of the late game. How many does he have at the moment, actually, larva-wise?
Larva, 20.
Yeah, 20 larvae. Okay, so at this point in the game, at the 17-minute mark, a lot of Zergs would prefer to be maxed out and be kind of saving up for replenishing after a big attack, but as it is, yeah, j_ECHO just sending out a lot of Lings to die here. It's going to be tough.
All right. Well, that's a lot of death and destruction there, and not the kind that j_ECHO would have liked. So really committed with those Lings. I mean, if you have poked up, taken out the first line of Marines that was taking out Creep Tumor, sure, but then really started to kind of fall apart after that. As it stands, though, we do have our first 2 Corruptors on the way. Oh, but unfortunately, it looks like another drop over on the right-hand side does finally clean up this base, but at the same time, Cloud's making his way over to the left. Not much that j_ECHO can do about it.
Yeah, it just shows what a solid player Cloud is here, not really letting the early aggression phase him, because it was something that a lot of Terrans would be, you know, worried about, but Cloud just kind of took it, just played patiently, and now he's got a timing and an army that he can just kind of move out with and not really worry a whole lot, to be honest with you. He's got his opponent down to just 3 bases again mining, really only 2 bases mining right now, and that is a fantastic position for him to be in.
All right. Well, looks like these Infestors trying to get at the back and draw some fire.
Oh, the Infestors!
He headbutts with the rest of his Infestors,
man.
And now because the siege tanks were actually firing on the Zerglings, this dropping the siege, the infested Terrans behind the siege tanks doesn't do nearly as much as he would have liked.
Yep, that's right. Still, those tanks are a little bit clumped up, so maybe, you know, j_ECHO does have a bit of a chance. He's got some Broodlords on the way, but oh, that's kind of nice. That's going to help those siege tanks fire on each other if he doesn't control them well, and it looks like he is, so.
Yeah, there it goes.
Wow, not bad.
All right, so he's able to clean up a good number of the siege tanks that were actually sitting in that position, but, you know, Cloud, he's been able to take his 4th base. Actually, that was quite a large group of blue. I thought he had another base over here at the left, but he does not, so just 4 bases for now, but his economy still looks very, very good. There's only a couple of Broodlords coming up for j_ECHO at the moment.
Yeah, you know, again, I mean, I bet if we look at the larva count, if we look at the income, it's just too low right now. Yeah, 11 larvae. he's using all these lings to try to get a little bit of an economic advantage, but against a Terran player with so many command centers, the ability to create SCVs and to create mules is just going to outweigh any damage you could really do with these sort of Zergling counterattacks in most situations. So really what he's doing here is unfortunately just kind of throwing away larva at this point. He really needs to be using those larva for units that he's going to be using in that big last fight that he wants to get to, where he can then remax, get more units really, really quickly, and then overrun his opponent. He's trying to take that 4th and 5th base again, and if he can hold those, he's still definitely in the game, but as it is right now, he's in a really, really tough spot. 40 supply down, and Cloud, I think we're going to see move out pretty soon here and try to end this game.
Yeah, that's definitely right. Even adding in a couple of Thors as well to help buffer, and he'll be able to do a little bit more anti-air against the Broodlords that are sitting out there. But of course, there's only 5 Broodlords out there for now, 6th just finishing up, but still not that high of a count. A powerful army to be reckoned with for sure. But still, Cloud still has a very, very powerful army of his own. Looks like he's going to be able to retake out this base. Oh, actually, the Infestor's getting a position very quickly. Well done with that Fungal. It does delay the units for a while. None of the Infestors have gone down yet, but it looks like he's still going to lose that base.
Yeah, nothing's going to really save that. Yeah, he doesn't get to cancel it either, unfortunately. He does have the Broodlords out, so that's not bad. I mean, he does have a good amount of Infestors, too.
And Cloud, at the same time, with a great display of multitasking, is actually moving off to the right as well. Another base goes down. So right now, j.ECHO is really only on a base and a half of mining at the moment.
Yeah, more or less. And that's what's really going to hurt him here in this game. He kind of is at the point where he needs to start pushing, but he knows he just doesn't have a big enough army to do that. So again, kind of between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Once more for j.ECHO, trying to get enough Corruptors out to handle the Vikings, enough Broodlords out to do that. He's got still a good amount of Infestors, but his army is just not quite big enough. And it's not so much the army, it's just the ability to remax after losing that army,
Funny how nice just one Overlord sitting off to the left can be. It detects this huge Doom drop that was coming through for Cloud, which could very well have taken out a couple more bases. Looks like j.ECHO, I thought he was maybe deciding, well, that's a lot of army sitting over there. Push with some lings off to the right. Decides against it, and wisely, as Cloud has this very well defended at the moment.
Yeah, he's going to be just fine. So let's kind of take stock of the situation here. Well, things not going too well for that Marine specifically.
Felt bad for him.
I know. Maybe that was the one from earlier. Who knows? 2 more command centers on the way as well, so he's going to be able to add on possibly even some defensive planetaries if he wants to. Right.
Yeah. So let's see. It's, 72 drones to 64 SCVs at the moment. But, of course, economies are way out of whack because of the lack of mining bases for j.ECHO. This is really his only mining at the moment. They're finally reestablishing his 4th, trying to get that 5th back up as well. Quite a bit of long-distance mining, actually, with a good number of those drones.
Yeah, this is... Oh, I love Cloud. I'm officially in love with Cloud. He's making Seeker Missile. He's got Corvid Reactor on the way. I don't know. I'm just proclaiming my love for Cloud.
I'm okay with that, man. Seeker Missile.
Him.
It's awesome.
And Bomber.
Yep.
I think Jakshi did it once.
Yep. You're actually naming a lot of my favorite players, though, so I think we're detecting a trend.
There is a correlation, if you look, between players who are awesome
and
players who use Seeker Missile. It's a direct correlation.
You're absolutely right.
The statistics don't lie.
Bomber and Jockey, 2 of my absolute favorite Terrans, so there it is.
And there you go. Yeah. And
yes, indeed.
All right, where do you go from that? Really not...
well, I mean, you wait for the Seeker Missile to hit. I mean, that's honestly what we're waiting for, but...
yeah. We do see Cloud kind of playing around a little bit with the late game, too, right now. He's in a great situation to do that. He knows he's way ahead. So he's going to... This is kind of going to be, I think, his answer to Broodlords. Because I don't believe, Point Defense Drone does not block Broodlings or anything like that.
No.
It's not going to really be helpful for anything else. So the Point Defense Drone is, or not Point Defense Drone, the Seeker Missile is specifically for packs of Broodlords. And if they are grouped up, it's going to do a lot of damage. Seeker Missile does a ton of damage if you can hit with it.
Yep.
Broodlords are not able to run away. They're like one of the few units in the game who can't run away from Seeker Missile.
That's true. And makes the explosion that much better if they're all clumped up.
Here's a question for you.
Okay.
You can fungal growth interceptors from carriers, right?
Yes.
Can you fungal growth a seeker missile?
I do not believe so because it's a projectile or a missile. It's the same reason that you can fungal broodlings even once they're down or something like that, because you're technically throwing a projectile unit, but you're not throwing a missile necessarily.
Interesting.
I believe I'm right on that. Certainly correct me if I'm wrong on Twitter, guys. I'm at KevinNaki.
I wonder.
At Gosugawa.
I know they've got that. Oh, sorry, I talked over your Twitter thing.
No, it's okay. I mean, I'm hurt, but I'll let the hurt go away for now. No, that's all I had to say, actually.
Follow Kevin Naki on Twitter at Kevin Naki on Twitter. Go follow him.
All right, I appreciate it.
I wonder if the StarCraft 2 Mythbuster guys have ever done that one.
Probably so.
Maybe they have. I don't know. Well, j.ECHO continuing to really do a good job of staying alive in this game, but Cloud just kind of slowly, methodically pushing his way across the map. And look at that. He's got, I think, 6 or 7 Ravens out right now.
Yeah.
And j.ECHO's going to see that, and he's going to be like, oh, I know what those are for. So he's going to make sure he does a really, really good job of spreading out those Broodlords. He's still got a very strong army, and I mean, with the adrenal glands, with the upgrades for his Zerglings, he can do a pretty good job of doing what we're seeing here, denying bases, denying drops.
Right.
So j.ECHO, despite being in a really tough spot for a little while, is not out of this game at all yet.
No,
so
it's kind of the opportunity where Cloud, despite the fact that he has a ridiculous late-game anti-Broodlord army, has given his opponent the chance that if he makes a major mistake, his opponent will be right back in it. I mean, this is a devastating army, no matter how it came about. I mean, there was a time when Cloud was up by about 50 or 60 supplies, started sacking SCVs, started sacking lesser Marines to take out bases and replace those with Ravens and Vikings and such. I understand that. And still does have the advantage, but it's still pretty ridiculous. Okay, 2 things going on at once. Huge drop making a way around the right, and j.ECHO actually moving up to the top left, but Cloud making a lot of his units killed here.
Yeah, I think he certainly could. I like the tech switching from j.ECHO as well. You can see he's starting to get a pretty big bank, so if he does lose a lot of units, he can switch over to Ultralists, which his opponent may not be prepared for. But yeah, this will indeed be a big drop to deal with. Looks like the medevacs are going to go down pretty quickly, but where are the Broodlords? We need something else to get in here and take care of this.
I don't know. They're quite far behind. Oh, the Infestors are trying to come up. They land a couple of fungal girls, but 3 of the Infestors go down very quickly. Roachworm may bite the dust as well. Here comes the rest of the army, though.
Oh, Seeker Missile!
Yes! I just feel happy every time I see it.
That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, yes it is. And those Broodlords have officially bitten the dust. Point of Venture taking up some of the Corruptor shots as well, and the Queens. And Vikings should be able to dispatch of the rest.
Oh, if only he had another Seeker Missile or 2 for those Corruptors, he could have been able to just make this so much more entertaining. But as it is, he's got plenty. The Seeker Missiles, as you can see, helping out a bit there as well. Very, very cool stuff.
Yep.
And, oh, the Infested Terrans coming in to try to soak a little bit of the Siege Tank fire. Will it be enough, though? Fungals on the Vikings and the Ravens, so they can't leave.
That's right. You can't leave!
Interesting. He actually did a lot of damage there. That actually evened things out quite a bit.
That was well done. All right, so the little follow-up to it was actually quite good. So Cloud, though, did a little bit of damage with the drops, but j.ECHO is starting to remax now, producing a lot of Ultralisks as well.
Yeah, tons of Ultras on the way, and here they come. Is Cloud prepared for this?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh, Zerglings.
Yeah, I know. Zerglings trying to make their way through. The Ultralisk coming in from behind as well. Chitinous plating, curiously not researched, so the armor is actually way down on the Ultralisk, which could make a difference.
Yeah, I think he maybe forgot to do that one. Could use that.
All right.
Does that Raven have? Nope, not enough for Seeker Missile. Oh, well.
It's Overlord hunting season is what it is.
I guess so.
Well, that's a little bit of Elmer Fudd action there, but Marines standing in line until they die. Planetary Fortress soaking up a few of the shots will eventually go away, but Cloud is actually just sent down to really this mining base. However, he's still continuing to do damage with this little patrol squad of Vikings. Unfortunately, getting a little bit caught by that Spore Crawler, though.
This is turning into a bit of a crazy game here. Oh, I do like the auto turret there as well, just being very annoying, killing off a few more drones. But here's the situation right now that Cloud is in. He's down to basically 1 mining base. He just lost a lot of his late-game army, and there's a ton of Ultras out. So he needs to kind of sit back and play a little bit more defensive. Ultras are not defending units. They are attacking units. So if Cloud doesn't kind of play into j.ECHO's hands, he's still got a pretty good chance here. He's made enough Marauders, too, where he can actually start to be a little bit more aggressive. He doesn't have to be quite as turtly. But we'll see. That's a lot of Banelings being added on there as well, and the Infestors still could be a threat with fungal growth.
What a weird game we've seen in game number 1 to start things off. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. Oh, the Infestors headbutting, and 3 of those die right away. A few Infested Terrans getting sent down. The Ultralisk trying to filter in from behind as well. Cloud smartly picking up and getting out of there. Didn't have the firepower to go up against those Ultralisks head on. Kindness plating still not being researched. May have just forgotten about it at this point.
I'm sure he forgot it, yeah. Did he? No, he didn't lose. Did he lose his Ultralisk Cavern? No, it doesn't matter. He's going to lose a lot of these Ultralisks in this attack. Does he have enough to take this out? Ultras bumping into each other, just not attacking efficiently.
Right.
And that may be all Cloud needs, but it's going to be so close.
Yeah, the Ultralisk finally going down. Just the last gasp of health there. The last Ultralisk
Oh,
falls
man.
right underneath the Medivacs, denying their healing privileges to that unit.
You know, that engagement I feel like is going to change quite a bit once Heart of the Swarm comes out and Ultralisks have that, like, burrow charge thing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that was an engagement where I feel like there were enough Ultras to take the army, but they just couldn't get the surface area that they needed. They're just so big.
Yeah, that's definitely actually a good point there. So, a lot of the units going to go down. Echo will be able to save the base on the left-hand side, but he may lose this one off to the right.
He is.
And that's going to go down.
Oh, and that's going to be so annoying. It's definitely not a point in the game where j.Echo wants to be spending 300 minerals on a new hatchery.
Right.
He wants to be winning the game. He wants to be moving around, denying bases.
Yep.
But yeah, and as you can see, the income's so low.
And that auto turret is about ready to knock out a Spire.
Oh, wow, it didn't last.
Sad.
It's the first time I think an auto turret has ever gone its entire life expectancy.
That's about right, actually. Well, the Infestors trying to make their way through once again, but really just dropping down a token amount of infested Terrans. In fact, all get cleaned up before the Zerglings are able to come in afterwards. So once again, Cloud is on the offensive. He's taking out bases, trying to take down this hatchery, splitting nicely against the Infestors as well.
Yeah, it was a valiant effort by j.Echo. It really was. And he did make Cloud sweat a little bit, I'm sure, but it looks like Cloud just barely might have enough to overpower. The thing with Marine Marauder Medivac is that once you get that slight edge, you can just carry it all the way to the end of the game a lot of times. GG, yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Cloud taking game one. Not a bad game at all for him.
No, very well done. So that does put aTn